tips that we have figured out on our own. Give you some tips for talking to the judges, because that's going to be how you win these awards and things. And then how to build an engineering book. So what is the Rookie All-Star Award? It's an award for teams that express the message at first and resemble a chairman's team. This team is more than what's expected as first year. You outreach, you build a robot that can actually do something and participate in the competition, and build strong sponsors, and just and a lot more than that. So this means that you're active in your community. Community service is something that's really, really important to first something that's really important at first. You're spreading the message at first, so that means gracious professionalism, and you're just talking about what first is doing, what first is all about. Talking about how first has impacted your life, how first has impacted other people's lives, and just telling people what our values are. And then building a sustainable team is really important, because they want to be able to know that your team is here and it's going to continue to be here for years and years and years. So that means you're building partnership with junior first Lego league, and or first technical competitions teams, and building a network of consistent sponsors. This means that your sponsors are going to sponsor you year after year after year, and you have the money to be able to build a team. Is anybody not familiar with FLL and FTC?
Okay, so I'm going to go over season tips. So your preseason, during the preseason, you should have like prep meetings. For our prep season, our very first year, we went to the Recycle Rush all girls competition. That's like we got a glimpse of what first robotics is and like how the competition will go. And for us, we use a team's robot here. Our first year to go to that competition and compete. We went to a CAD training, and I think we built one here for other teams. And we went to a rookie workshop where they helped us build our chassis and just get started. For preseason, this is not like really mandatory, but it'll like really help you when you want to win the Rookie All-Star Award. Like telling judges that we did all this and this. It's like you have the mindset of a chairman's team. So when you're going through like your first steps, you need to strategize on what is like most important to your team. So for us, we thought crossing defenses, shoot, and scale. Well, of course, it's for like last season when they had first stronghold. That's all the things that we wanted to start off with. But for us, we just end up working with crossing defenses, and that's like one thing you have to learn how to do well in. Just stick to one thing, and it will show that when you're doing the competition and for other teams out there in the alliance, they'll pick you because you can do one thing well.
It's better to be able to do one thing consistently than to focus on everything and not be able to really be an asset to anybody because you can't do anything. So basically, like the steps we're giving you, just create a list, and like we did, of what do you want to accomplish, figure out what you think is the most important, and then if you finish that one and it's good, move on to the next one, so that you're not trying to focus on too many things at once.
Have a solid structure. As your team grows, you need to have like everything organized. We have chassis, manipulator, and electrical programming and marketing. So also should mention everyone has their own job and is expert in their own respective fields. So when the judges come to ask you questions, you have like a certain person who know everything about that field.
This is just a diagram of what our team structure looks like. So it starts with the chief engineering coach, then the team captains, and then each of the subsystems, and then you'll have the lead engineers or the lead mentors for each of those, and then have the students who are in each of those as well.
For being a rookie team, it is okay to make mistakes. For us, a lot of mistakes happen. In the competition, our actual battery flew out while competing. We used the wrong gears for our arm, and when we were trying to figure out everything we wanted to do, we did not have enough room. We wanted to build a shooter, and that was like our rollout last year. Mistakes are part of the process. Don't let them discourage you. Make sure you tell the judges some of your problems when they come around and ask you about your robot and how your season went during the competition. They like to learn, like to hear what you learned. This is the other slide that we added last minute. We wanted to make sure that you practice driving. That is key because we waited to like the last minute to actually practice driving for the competition and just doing like basic stuff, being prepared.
Some other suggestions, like obviously you guys don't have a robot that you can drive that you built previously. See if you can invest in a remote control car, or if you have somebody on your team who plays a lot of video games, they'll probably be a really good driver because it's the same controller. You can literally as an Xbox drive your robot. So just practice, even if you don't have a robot, just practice with the controller, practice something so that you have an idea of what you're doing.
Yes, let me know. This competition should show like a ODE. Yeah, ODE. And like 6 season for just driving. Create an engineering book. That's what we passed around. This is like a key tip. Because last year we waited to the very end to build our engineering book, and it
was very difficult.
Having an engineering book give the judges something they can look at and help them remember you as a team, and also they have answer most of the questions they may have when you're doing your rookie all-star presentation.
It's also not expected for rookie teams to have an engineering book. That's something that a lot of more seasoned teams generally have. So having that will really impress the judges and say, hey, they're really serious about this, and it'll make it easier for everyone.
Just since I was there last year, I have a question. When you so last year at the end, you went through all of your information and trying to remember and put it down. So I don't know if this is using that, but what would you suggest to them before we get how they start on it?
Just start like each of you take a notebook or sit down on a computer and just start writing about everything that you remember. Everything from preseason, if you guys met next season, if you guys met, if you guys just did team building like movies or something. That's important because building a team is necessary for this. And just start writing and then compare notes. That's the easiest way. That's basically what we did is we created an outline and just went from there. It's best to start now because it's fresh.
Yeah, it's team and like everything needs as our basic. So we look for it and we've done cheating and so it's going to for our next mission.
So here are some tips for talking to the judges. The presentation, depending on your competition, all of you guys will be going to the Michigan districts. Are any of you doing regionals? No. Okay. So your presentation may or may not be timed. It really depends on how strict the judges are on their times. Like, we don't know that per se. But you give your presentation as the judges come around to speak to you. It's not you go into a room and you speak. That's how it works at states, is you have an appointment, you go into a room and you speak to some judges. You get 5 minutes for your presentation. It's really important that you stay under that time. If you go over that time, then that looks bad on you guys. So make sure you tell your story, but also follow the rules.
Question.
I have a quick question though. So, don't you not know until you're in the regionals until after you've done a lot of districts?
So at districts, you have to do well, but if you win Rookie All-Star at one of your districts, you get to go to states to compete for Rookie All-Star only. You don't get to compete in the competition. You have to score enough ranking points to compete in the actual competition.
So you guys are already locked in the states?
Basically, once we won Rookie All-Star, we didn't score enough.
Okay, I mean this year.
Oh, this year, no.
Okay.
It's
I was
only.
wondering when you asked, are you going to regionals? You don't know yet.
Yeah, no, regionals are, Michigan has such a high concentration of first teams that they have districts and then they have states, which is a regional. A lot of other states and a lot of other areas have one regional. You get one competition, and that's it. So, because we're broadcasting this, I just wanted to make sure we stuck everything in there in case somebody from another state is watching.
Okay.
Any more questions? So, some tips we have for you guys, keep someone in the pits at all times in case the judges come by. If the judges come by and don't see anybody in the pit, but there's like a random robot, it's not going to look good on you guys. You always want to make sure that there's a student in the pits at all times, because your mentors can't say anything. Don't talk over each other. So what we did is we had somebody who just, they ask a question. If we know that's their forte, we kind of like slightly point to them like, you answer this question. And we also had a conversation as a team beforehand. Like, if they ask about electrical, Denasia answers the question. Have an expert of each part of the robot present to field questions. Offer them some of your swag, so that's like buttons you may have. We have little capes that we wear, so at states we gave the judges our capes. We have bows, we had little tattoos. Anything that you have that is representative of your team, you want to make sure that you offer them, because that helps them remember you. And then have copies of your engineering book that you pass around. Offer let's take it with them. Again, it'll help them remember, and it'll also just help them, if they have questions, like, oh, well, what kind of loaders do they use? They can flip through your engineering really quickly and see. Answer questions honestly. If they're asking questions they want to know about you, don't lie to them, because they'll find out. And you don't want to lie to them. Smile, that's so important. Like, they want to know that you're having fun, that you really like people. Make eye contact, engage, and so my recommendation is if you have points in your pocket, don't. Because you're just there and that's not a look. Practice both presentation and possible questions and ask. That is so important. You don't want to practice presentation too much where you sound robotic, but you also don't want to be like I have to do what I'm supposed to say, and you're not open. And ask questions, that's also so that they don't ask you questions you're like, so even more tips, everyone should have a working knowledge of all parts of the robot, even if you never worked on that part. So like my job last year was chassis, but I still knew the electrical just in case somebody wasn't there to answer the question from electrical. Have daily briefings so that everyone is aware of what happened that day. That also just goes into being able to have a working knowledge of all of the parts of the robot. The presentation most likely be in the pit, so make sure everybody has the proper safety equipment. Also make sure that the pit is clean. You don't want it to be really messy because that's not a good look on you guys. So making sure you have safety goggles, keeping your hair up. Make sure you guys aren't horseplaying or sleeping. Somebody was sleeping in the pit last year. Not from our team though. So don't take a nap in the pit. That looks really bad. And for like our team, because we're all girls, we usually just keep some elastics in our toolbox just in case. I don't know if you guys have a lot of people on your team with long hair, but keeping them in the toolbox is helpful. So then a good thing is just to split up the presentation. We divided ours into 4 sections: preseason, build season, lessons learned, and our future goals. We had 1 presenter for each section. So we had 4 people presenting, but we had 7 people in the room at the time. This is the state's Rookie All-Star plaque that we won. This was us during the presentation, and this was us at states. How to create an engineering book. So that's where these come into play. We give these to you guys if you need them, and have something to go off of when you're doing what you choose. So ours is the team starts our team roster, mentor roster, our sponsors, any preseason activities that you did. Write a short paragraph about them, telling them what you did. And if you learned anything, add that in there as well. Goes into the build season. Talk about problems that you ran into. What did you make a mistake on and figure out, and now you know not to do that next year. Talk about your chassis, manipulator, electrical, and marketing. Talk about any brainstorms that you had. Like, we were going to do this. We had these 3 ideas, but we chose to go with the first one. And explain why you went with the first one and why the other 2 weren't as good as the first one, and you guys find. So make sure you have your brainstorming and prototype pictures. If you prototyped at all, you want to make sure that you have some of those pictures in there so they can kind of see where your mind was going. So your final design CAD, if you don't have a CAD, then you want pictures of your final design, and any CADing that you did, if you did any CADing. And then as you go through, this needs to be a living document. When you go to your first competition, you know, and you find out this didn't work well, this didn't work well, we need to revise the battery rack, which is what we did because ours catapulted. You know, and just add in there your robot improvements and what you learned at each competition. And then your game strategy. What was your, what were you going into the game hoping your robot could do? For ours, it was, we wanted to do crossing obstacles, picking up balls and shooting them, and then scaling. Our game strategy, we were only able to do the first one because we couldn't fit the shooter into our robot and we couldn't scale. But we accomplished that first one. And you want to talk about that. So this is the section that is just questions and fear adjusting, which is what everything was on that wall. There are questions when she gets here.
She's another motion to write her.
Okay.
This says if it doesn't work, referring to the robot, if it doesn't work. It was an alliance, it was like the final rounds, and we got picked for an alliance. And our robot actually stopped working in the middle of the last round with our alliance. So that was probably more like electrical issues that we had, programming issues that we had during that moment.
If your robot doesn't work when you get to competition, there's going to be a whole lot of people who are willing to help you. That's the whole point about gracious professionalism, and that's what First is built on. Other teams want you to succeed as much as they want to succeed themselves. And so if you're having a problem and if it's your coding that's the issue, they have other mentors there that can help, that are through First. They have other teams that you can help, that can help you, like us, Frog Force, Team 503. They were a really big help to us, and to a lot of other teams, the Riveters. I can't remember their name, but the Riveters, last year, one of the teams that was right next to us, they were having problems, and the Riveters came over and started helping them, and just working on the robot, like having 4 team members over there, and they really want you to succeed, especially if you're just stuck, you don't know what to do.
Yeah, I also wanted to mention, like, actually during the competition, like, something happened to your robot, like, it just stopped, like, hit right on the glass, and they had running competition, trying to put it in that one.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's so much there that